YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with another trade scenarios video. This one is for the Dolphins' first round pick from just a year ago, MINKAH FITZPATRIck, known as an all-around defensive back because he can play pretty much every position. He can play Kirk. The hell are you doing, Kirk? Can play corner, slot corner, safety, box safety. I prefer him in the slot. That's the thing. People ask, which teams does he fit? I think he fits any team because he can play any defensive back position and anybody can use his talents. Just a rookie a year ago. But I think he is proven in one spot. We know how good he is going to be in one spot, that's slot corner. But he's a playmaker, and he's a good run stopper as well. So identifying the true teams that will actually make an offer for him is tough, but I got several teams. As you can see in this clip, he actually is playing center field by himself right there. Very hard to play. He could have done a better job at putting himself in a better position here, but that's very hard to do, and he actually saves a touchdown. I've noticed he's saved a lot of touchdowns last year. And then here, slot corner, that's where he's best. Making a play like that at the slot corner position. You see it again. Comes up, makes tackle, another stop from MINKAH FITZPATRIck. So I got several teams to go over here. I saved a kind of a blockbuster trade for last. We do have a 40K subscriber goal here at the Goat House. Please help us out by subscribing to the channel. We got you covered with all kinds of NFL content, picks every single week, score predictions, recaps, power rankings, and videos like these always come up, and we always do these types of videos. We're adding some game footage to some of our videos going forward. Hopefully can break down some game footage as best as we can here. Click the like button. Click notifications on. Check us out on Twitter. We also have exclusive content available if you go to our Patreon, patreon.com/thegoathouse, link in the description. You get bonus videos, whether it's NFL videos, behind-the-scenes videos, plenty more. You can join our Discord, our Pick'ems League. Let's get to the trade scenarios. I'm going to start at the top here. Who could offer the most? Which team I think can offer the most? I think the Philadelphia Eagles can. I think they can offer a first-round pick here. He was just a first-round pick 2 years ago, 2018. Actually, last year, 1 year ago, 2018. And he was a first-round pick for a reason. Very talented and could do everything you ask from a DB. You know, I guess he's a little on the smaller side in terms of, he's a little thin, so with those guys, you worry about tackling, but he can come up and tackle. Like I said, he saved a bunch of touchdowns last year, I've noticed. The Eagles need a guy like this. They have several defensive backs that can play. It's not that they don't have, they need more defensive backs in terms of the number they have. They have plenty. They just don't have that true standout. Malcolm Jenkins is a true safety. Maybe he's not the same as he was a couple years ago, but he's still a guy that kind of carries that secondary. MINKAH FITZPATRIck, I think, fits. He fits anybody, and I think he can play. Really, I think he can outplay anybody at their current position on the Eagles except for Malcolm Jenkins. But I think they'll use him in the slot corner. They actually can use him in outside corner. He played most of his snaps last year in the slot, and then actually the next most was very close between outside corner, and box safety. So I do think the Eagles could use that. They're a team I think will make an offer, and I'm trying to identify which team could offer the most. I think the Eagles, because I think they're maybe that type of player away from winning a Super Bowl, or making them that much easier to win a Super Bowl if they think they are the favorites, which I would hope they think they are. And they have enough cap space to do this, and I think they will be picking late, and I think they will be picking late. Kind of touched on that already, but I think so. For that reason, I think they can offer a first-round pick. I also think they can get something small back if it's a first-round pick. It's kind of tough because you hear the rumors that they may be willing to accept a second plus something else. So that's why I kind of gave something back to the Eagles. But he was a first-round pick and a very high first-round pick just a year ago. So that's why I think a first-round pick is a realistic suggestion, or what the Dolphins would need back. So we'll see if anybody offers it. I think the Eagles have an opportunity to do that because I think they'll be picking late, and they can definitely use MINKAH FITZPATRIck. On to another team. I think the Dallas Cowboys could offer something good as well. Maybe a first isn't as valuable as this, but it's actually pretty close. 2 picks here, a second and a fourth. The Cowboys need safety help, and they pretty much, Byron Jones might not be there forever. They still have to re-sign him, and they're re-signing all these guys, They just re-signed Zeke. They re-signed offensive lineman. They got to re-sign Dak, extend him. So, I mean, they could use Minkah for corner of the future, slot corner right now, or he's a plug-and-play guy at safety as well, because we know they wanted another safety. They couldn't really do that. They weren't in a position to do that in free agency, maybe because they wanted to pay their own guys, and they weren't really in a position to do that in the draft. It seems like the really good ones were gone, and there was a big gap of guys. So they definitely can use Minkah Fitzpatrick for multiple different positions. What's tough is, like I said, I think he's a proven good player and an athlete, but I think he's only proven as maybe a standout player of the future or a sure thing at slot corner. That's the tough thing. So I think the Cowboys can offer a second and fourth. I'm predicting the Eagles to offer a little more. If they don't, then the Cowboys could be a team to look out for here. I have some teams with basically the similar offers. So basically this video is to which teams are we looking at here. And there's a couple teams I didn't include. We'll talk about at the end. I think the Vikings could offer something similar. I think they would give up a future fourth, though, the Vikings. A second and a future fourth. They could be one of those teams that maybe just offers a second because they have talent there. They have those players there. Mackenzie Alexander just got hurt. Mike Hughes is currently hurt. He can come back. He was kind of known as more of an outside corner and could replace Trey Waynes when he is a free agent next year. Jaron Kearse is really a safety. He's filling in the box while Alexander's out. He is a free agent after this year. And then Mike Zimmer, we know this defense, and Mike Zimmer always looking for more defensive backs, more weapons, more projects, fun projects, good projects that Mike Zimmer wants to work with. This is a perfect example of what that guy could be. So he could be a guy of the future and can help them right now. And the Vikings, I think, should be getting a third-round compensatory pick as well, so they could feel comfortable trading more than just a second round. Maybe they offered that third round something else. So we'll see. But the thing with the Vikings is they have very low cap space, so maybe they would have to work some things out to make this happen. But Minkah Fitzpatrick, the beauty about him is that he doesn't have too big of a cap hit. He's on a rookie contract, not a huge cap hit. He was a high pick, not super high though. So the Vikings can make some things work. I think the other teams are more likely. There may be maybe some more teams more likely that we'll talk about. I just think that's a team to watch out for, just because they're always looking for DBs, and it's Zimmer's team. Another team here. A second and a fifth, I think, could be the offer. The Seahawks. Yeah, they can definitely use him in the slot. They re-signed Jamar Taylor recently. They got him back for a reason. And they lost Justin Coleman. I think that would be the reason. But they can easily get better here. And they know that, So Minkah Fitzpatrick. And they have some more cap space still, even though they signed Clowney long term. But they can use Minkah Fitzpatrick. That secondary gets much better. The defense gets much better. The thing is, they just traded picks for Clowney. They didn't really trade that much. But do they want to be without a second, third, and a fourth round pick? That would be 3 picks in a row. I don't think so. So that's why I threw in a fifth instead of a fourth. That might be what they can offer here. But the Seahawks, I think this is one of the more likely teams if those teams I had ahead of them aren't really offering that. If this is kind of the max offer, what it ends up being, then I think the Seahawks have a legit chance of doing this. Another trade for the Seahawks is possible. The next team I got is the Jaguars. I have them offering a second. I don't think they offer too many picks because, Nick Foles is going to be their quarterback. He's going to be their quarterback. Hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully he's okay after that. But they do need more help. It's not really a team that's going to be picking in the lower part of the first round. They might be picking high because of the Foles injury. I think they also have holes on other spots of their team. You look at interior defensive line. You look at linebacker. You look at safety. So they have a bunch of holes where they're going to need their draft picks. They're not going to be able to, and they could use offense line. They can use a receiver. Is Fournette the answer? I don't know. Fournette's a good running back, hard running back, but does he fit today's offense? Does he fit Nick Foles' offense? That's the question. So they have needs. They don't want to trade too many draft picks. They may fill the need of slot corner or safety with Minkah Fitzpatrick because they have a very good, the best corner duo in Jalen Ramsey and A.J. Bouye. So they definitely need a slot corner. They definitely need a safety. That kind of showed in the Chiefs game, the safety situation. So Fitzpatrick could help them. I don't know if they offer multiple picks. It might just be one, and they wouldn't offer a first-round pick because at this point, it's up in the air where they could be picking. It could be a very good pick they're giving up. Next team's the Cardinals. I think they offer the same thing. I think they don't want to offer They definitely don't want to offer a first because they could be picking at a pretty good pick there. We still don't know. After 1 week, it's a tie, but it's a team we don't expect to be very good. That's my point. And the reason only one pick is because they're still in some of it a rebuild. Kingsbury just got there. Kyler Murray still needs more weapons. They need offensive line still, and that's kind of the prime spot. You take the offensive line, you can take them in the first, even the second round. So they don't want to, and they need defense pretty much everywhere. Rumors that Patrick Peterson could be on the trading block again once he's back close to the trade deadline. We'll talk about that closer to then. But they could use a guy like Fitzpatrick pretty much anywhere. They can play him anywhere. Again, I think slot corner is his best spot. I think that's where he can play. Depending on what they want to do with Byron Murphy, maybe they'd rather play him in the slot, Fitzpatrick outside. The reason this wouldn't happen, 2 reasons. I think somebody can offer more. And, Fitzpatrick kind of wants to leave the Dolphins because he doesn't like that losing attitude, And not that the Cardinals have that yet, but I think since the Dolphins are telling him to go out and his agent to go out and seek a trade, they're making calls. I'm sure teams are calling them, but they're mainly making calls to good teams. He's coming from Alabama. He likes to win, as does a lot of players. So maybe that would be the reason the Cardinals doesn't happen, but I think they'll be calling and making an offer. And let's get a blockbuster one in here, somewhat of a blockbuster. Let's throw Trent Williams in the mix. The Redskins definitely can use MINKAH FITZPATRIck. Their secondary played pretty poor against the Eagles, and I kind of expected to be kind of on the weaker side. They get Landon Collins, but he's not the best coverage safety. He's solid, but he's not the best. And Norman just seems to be on the decline, more and more on the decline every year. Have a couple young corners. Fitzpatrick, to me, instantly becomes their best all-around defensive back. So they definitely can use him in there. He can play multiple spots. And Trent Williams is sitting there not playing. And actually, the Redskins' offensive line played pretty solid against the Eagles, who's supposed to have a very good defensive line. So it's only one game, but they know, the coaching staff knows. But since Trent Williams, it sounds like his value was like a first-round pick, but at the same time, he's just going to sit. The Redskins' offensive line looked pretty solid, so the Redskins can get MINKAH FITZPATRIck at a third-rounder, Trent Williams in a 7th. To the Dolphins, what I came up with. I don't think any super high picks will be involved in that. But you may say the Dolphins just traded away Tunsil, who fits a little more of the rebuild than Trent Williams, which is very true. But look at the return on what they got. It's they can use the Tunsil trade to kind of stay. Really, Trent Williams is better than Tunsil. Will he be long term? No, but he's better than Tunsil, and you actually gained good picks. With Trent Williams loses value because he's sitting, he doesn't plan on coming back, and the Redskins' offensive line can be solid without him, actually, which is kind of surprising. But they played without him in the past too, because he has had his injuries. That's why I don't know if I definitely wouldn't trade a first rounder for Trent Williams. I'm on record saying if he's healthy, he's the best left tackle in football right now, and I stand by that. But if he's healthy, kind of a question. So this is actually something that I can see happening. It's a long shot just because the 2 players that are involved, but it's very interesting and it makes sense to me. So let me know your guys' thoughts on that. A couple other teams that I didn't throw in here, and I'll say why. There's a lot of teams that definitely could use them, but they're on kind of the weaker side in terms of their talent and how they'll play this year. Like I said, I don't know if MINKAH and his agency are going out looking for that. I don't know if I think they maybe would rather stay in Miami than go to a team like the Giants or something. It's almost a similar situation. Giants aren't quite as bad. And then a team like the Panthers I thought of, but they have a lot of defensive backs that are kind of the similar style of Fitzpatrick. They need a true outside corner, in my opinion, and true safeties. And then the Texans, I think, definitely need him. Great fit. Definitely need him, but they just traded away a bunch of these picks that could be used for this. I don't know if the Dolphins want future picks for their higher pick in the deal. It's possible, but the Texans already traded away too many picks here, and they already made a deal with the Dolphins. So I think that may have already been discussed, and I don't know if it happens. So plenty of, like I said, I think he fits any team really out there. So I'm not saying the teams I did not include or mention, 0% chance. If you want to comment, why did you leave this team out? Feel free to. My answer is going to be somewhere along the lines of these teams are more likely, but the reason I did not leave them in is, and I'll comment with the answer. So there's just small things that made me choose these teams. Mainly most of these teams being good, having draft picks. Cap space really wasn't an issue here, but we can discuss it in the comments if you're wondering about some other teams. I thought the Jets would be good, but they're in division. I don't know if they trade him in division. He's going to be a good player that's going to be beating him up there in the division twice a year. So we'll see. Very good young player. You don't see a guy like this come on the block a lot. You know, right when I heard this news, I'm like, no way they trade him. He could be part of the rebuild. He's part of the rebuild. He's very young. They just drafted him a year ago. But now, hearing that they're letting him seek trade and that he really wants to be traded and Flores isn't really using him the way he should be. It's only been 1 week, but he's went through practice, and they're gonna keep switching his position based on the game plan. To me, that sounds like MINKAH Fitzpatrick shouldn't have a problem with. Like, he's kind of the key to that, if that's the case. So it's an odd situation. At first, I didn't think it was possible, but now I think it's very much possible. We'll see what happens. A lot of teams could trade for this guy, so can't wait to see what happens. That's going to do it for this one. Appreciate everyone's support. Please click that subscribe button. If you want more Goat House, go to the Patreon. More will be added to that as the season goes on. A lot more extra content that you won't get here on YouTube. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.